Getting into law is difficult. There may not be a groundbreaking observation, but here's a stat to put that into perspective. If you're currently sitting in a lecture theatre as one of 200 students, statistically, only 36 of you will get a training contract. So we, the people behind All About Law, decide to run around the City of London to quiz as many people who are in the know as possible. With that in mind, we spoke to a number of graduate recruiters and partners on how to get into law. So without further ado, here are the insights we garnered from those individuals.
You should start researching employers as soon as possible. It's a complicated and important decision, and the more information you can have, the more research you can have done, and the more time you can take to think about it, the better decisions you will make. So in my view, I always take the view little and often. Look at employers, research firms, then go away, think about it a bit, come back to it having thought about it, and research again.
Ideally, already you'll have been doing some research in your first year, but if not, then get going as soon as you start your second year, because the sooner you do your research, the sooner you'll be able to take the opportunities which are out there.
It's never too early to start researching employers. As soon as you get back to university, get on it.
Strong grades are really important. For us, it's kind of a taken that you are going to have your good grades if you want to apply to us for a training contract. I would say of all of our applications we received, probably 99% will have the grades we're looking for. So if you don't have those strong grades, you have to work extremely hard to prove yourself on an application that you're as good as the people who do have the grades.
When we are assessing a candidate, we're looking at their grades across the board, so from school right through to university, and obviously the more information we have about you, the more we're going to be looking at in each different aspect of your academic career. So it is important to us that you get consistent results and that you are performing at a good 2-1 level. Obviously, if something has happened along the way and you have mitigating circumstances that you feel have really affected your potential academically, then it's also very important to share that.
They are important, but it's not the be-all and end-all. We are looking at other things on your application form as well.
In terms of the number of applications we receive, for training contracts we receive approximately 2,500 applications for 40 to 45 places. For our vacation schemes we receive in the region of 1,200 applications for 100 places.
We offer between 75 and 80 places per year, and we receive applications well in excess of that. Obviously, we receive probably a couple of thousand of applications.
We offer 12 training contracts, and for those 12 training contracts this last year we've received 1,350 applications, so it's less than a 1% chance of success, which is pretty tough.
At Reed Smith, we receive about 1,000 applications a year for training contracts. Of these, we offer around 24 places a year.
We offer up to 55 training contracts each year, and for those 55 places, we receive approximately 1,800 to 2,000 applications each year. We recruit approximately 45 vacation students across 3 programmes, and for those placements, we receive approximately 600 applications each year.
We receive on average about 2,500 applications per year for our training contracts and vacation schemes.
We receive thousands of applications for our 20 winter vacation scheme vacancies, 40 summer vacation scheme vacancies, and also our 40 training contracts.
We're really looking for people who really want to work here. So, they've done a lot of research. They know that we are a good fit for them. We are quite different. We're a mid-sized city firm and we have some specialist areas. So people who have that same passion that we have and that really want to work mid-sized.
We ask quite a few competency-based questions within our application form, and we're looking for students to be able to give us examples of when they've demonstrated this competency.
In terms of people's applications to us, we would look for a number of things. Certainly good academics, ideally some a variety of work experience, some business experience and some legal experience, that you can demonstrate that you are a team player, that you've got strong communication skills, which would come out in terms of how you write your answers, and then ideally a bit of a well-rounded individual. So you've got involved in things at university and have taken on perhaps positions of responsibility and have developed some other skills in terms of perhaps team leader responsibilities.
We are looking for people who will be able to demonstrate the qualities which we think are required as a lawyer. So the ability to communicate with people, work in teams. So if you've joined a society, showing that you've been able to function well in that society, taking initiative, and also commercial awareness. So evidence of work experience, evidence of attending open days, vacation schemes.
When it gets to interview, the candidates that are successful in being offered a position are those really who have demonstrated a great deal of commitment and motivation to learning how to be an excellent lawyer, to being committed to the profession, but also being interested in the business of a law firm and the business of our clients. Those who don't do so well are those who perhaps undersell their abilities, and it may be the tone of their voice, it may be they're not recognising how valuable something has been that they've done in the past. If you don't tell us what you've done and show that you're motivated and enthusiastic to join us, that sometimes makes the decision very easy for us. So I really encourage candidates to make sure they are selling themselves as much as possible, but also being themselves, because it's very important you join an organisation where you're going to fit in and be happy long term.
The key at our interviews is to focus on the questions that are being asked and to be clear about the answers given. There are some questions which we are very likely to ask. So why law? Why Slaughter and May? Why commercial law? And to have the best candidates are the ones that know the answers to those questions, not off pat, but can give a thoughtful, considered answer to those sort of questions. Equally, we will take you off piste and we will ask questions to which you couldn't possibly have prepared. And again, it's the candidates who are measured in their response, who think about the question and answer the question that is being asked.
Sometimes candidates get themselves into a bit of a tricky situation by not thinking about the question before responding, so absolutely thinking about the question. And I would say candidates start to differentiate themselves when they won't say that they don't know the answer to a question and they try and pretend they know the answer. So honesty goes an incredibly long way in an interview, so hold your hands up when you don't know.
Well, commercial awareness is, in essence, an understanding of how businesses operate. And since as a commercial lawyer, your job will be to advise businesses, it's absolutely essential that you, as a student, build an understanding of how those businesses operate.
It's not just commercial awareness, it's actually commercial interest. Having a real interest in the commercial world is what will set you apart.
Work experience is a really great way to demonstrate that you're commercially aware, whether it's a part-time job in a small cafe or whether it's work experience in a city law firm. By showing that you understand how either of the businesses operate, this demonstrates your understanding of the business world.
My advice for anyone considering being a solicitor in the future is to talk to as many people who are in the profession already. Find out the good points, the bad points. Be very open and honest with yourself about whether or not you feel you're going to be right for that sector. And if you are, fantastic, go about building up your experience to provide us with more reasons to interview you. But I think it's most important to really do your research, your due diligence if you like, and talk to as many people as possible.
Yeah, my one piece of advice would be to think carefully, to do your research, to not just jump into it because it seems like a good job or it's well paid or it's an acceptable career, but to research and find out what it means to do this job. It's a great job, don't get me wrong. It's not necessarily for everyone, but I think a number of people go into it or start going into it without having taken those steps to really understand. And that understanding, if you take that time to do it, will come across an interview. And it will be a far better interview because actually you really want to do the job.
My biggest piece of advice for students would be to do a lot of research on firms before you've even looked at their application form. Know what practice areas you want to work in, what size firm you want to work in, location, that sort of thing. And then handpick maybe 4 or 5 firms that you are desperate to work in. Because you've done that extra research, every one of those application forms will be a good application form.
My key piece of advice to anyone that wanted to become a solicitor would be willing to work hard. This is an incredibly competitive career, and it will involve a few knockbacks potentially along the way. But if you keep at it, quite often we find that those are the candidates that are successful. And actually also this can be quite a hard career, quite pressurised, so kind of knowing that you are going to have to work hard on occasions will certainly come through when you're going through the recruitment process.
Vacation schemes are really important. I think they make a real difference, not just because they give the firms, they give us the opportunity to get to know you as students better, but because it gives you as a student a really great insight into the firm. There are plenty of resources these days on the internet to find out about firms, to find out their stats, to find out what sort of work they do. But really until you've experienced it, until you've spent 3 weeks or 2 weeks immersed in the work of that firm, seeing what it's like to be a trainee, only then do you really get a feel for the culture and whether you would feel that you would be able to work there.
We offer vacation schemes and we love people to come on our vacation schemes. However, we don't assess them whilst they're on the scheme. We don't recruit solely from our vacation schemes. Again, other firms will take a different approach, and you should look at their websites and work out the approach that they take. We still take the view that a vacation scheme is for your benefit as the candidate. Why are they important? Well, they're important because they enable you very well to answer the question, why do you want to do this job? And the answer to that can be, I have had a vacation scheme, I've experienced it for the maximum time that I could possibly experience it, and I enjoyed it and I found it interesting because ... So for us, vacation schemes are for the applicant's benefit. We don't require them to be undertaken, but they do have that huge benefit of being able to explain why you want to do the job.
So you now have a great insight into how the people that will be recruiting you think. That's only half the battle though. The next step is to get researching, building your knowledge and applying for opportunities. All About Law can help you with just that.